This just into CBS Sports HQ. Davis Thompson has his first tour win, the John Deere Classic. A putt for par on 18 from 2 feet 4 inches. Gives him his first win. He cards a 7 under 64. He also sets a John Deere Classic tournament record with a 28 under 256. He becomes the 24th golfer to claim his first tour win at this event. On top of the win, he takes home over $1 million, 500 FedEx Cup points, a 2-year exemption, a spot at next year's Masters tournament, and an invite to Royal Troon for the season's last major, the Open Championship. Luke Clanton, the amateur, impressive once again. He finishes T2 at 24 under par alongside Thorbjornsen and C.T. Pan. There was another spot at Royal Troon Open, and C.T. Pan ends up claiming that. It was a top 2 that would book their spots to Royal Troon that had not already put their places in. Pan gets in there because he is the higher ranked golfer of the 3 in terms of the official world golf rankings. Let's get into some post-round coverage of the John Deere Classic with Rick Gehman. Our coverage presented by the all-new TaylorMade TP5 and 5X. Play the #1 ball for you. Rick, Davis Thompson with a 2-shot lead coming into the day, expands that to 6, ends up winning it by 4, and he's now a PGA Tour winner. What's your reaction to this maiden victory?
Well, I promise you it's not as easy to win on the PGA Tour as Davis Thompson made it look in this final rounds, because he got off to an unbelievable start. He rolled in a birdie putt on the first hole, and it was no looking back from there. I think that did a lot of help to kind of calm the nerves a little bit in a group of golfers who none had a PGA Tour victory up to that point. And then he just went nuts and he rolled everything in. And then by the time you get a 4 or 5 shot lead, it starts to become a lot easier out there. I think the one thing that has been true in the last couple of decades of golf is one of the best indicators of success on the PGA Tour is a golfer's pedigree. What they have done as an amateur, what they have done collegiately, and Davis Thompson has an unbelievable pedigree. I mean, he has won at every single stage in his golfing career. He was the #1 amateur in the world at a time, and now this first win on the PGA Tour, you know, as many will go on to say, is probably going to be the first of a few or of many. I think the ceiling is quite high for Davis Thompson moving forward.
What did you make of his strategy to start this final round? Because we've often talked about, particularly for younger golfers that haven't necessarily won before, that maybe they go in a little tentative in that final round when they're playing in that lead group or playing near the top of the leaderboard. But for Thompson, it seemed like he was ready to attack this course, and the guys who were with him, Rye and Cole, were not.
Yeah, a little tentative from Eric Cole and Aaron Rye, and Davis Thompson just kind of sucked up a lot of energy out of that group. And when you go out to TPC Deere Run, you realize you're going to have to make a ton of birdies. And I think that is what Davis Thompson's plan was. He knew 21 under par, what he entered the day with, was not going to be nearly good enough. He was going to have to get to 24, 25, 26 under, and that's the way that he approached it right out of the gate. And you can see he turned in 29. We had this guy on 59 or 59 watch, yeah, when he made the turn. So a really impressive start there. And then as that lead swells, he started to play a little bit more conservatively, Jeremy, and actually that's when the worst swings that we saw from him all day kind of came out. He struggled with the driver a little bit, but at that point it was just so much of a cushion that he had built up. Nobody was going to be able to catch him.
Yeah, the gap closed, I think, to 3, and then it expanded back out to 4 and finishes that way. Rick, was there a shot that you saw today, or perhaps in this tournament, from Thompson, where you just knew that he was not going to be caught?
I thought the moment came very early. I thought it was on number 2. It's a par 5, and he caught a flyer out of the rough, and he was behind the green. It was kind of a downhill lie, and you see when guys are really nervous, those shots around the greens that require a lot of touch, that require you to land the ball at a very specific trajectory in a very specific spot on the greens, those are the most difficult. Some of these guys can't even feel their hands when they're playing under this amount of pressure, and he pulled it off unbelievably, and he hit it down to just a couple of feet, and he made that putt for his second consecutive birdie. And that's when I said, man, this kid has got it. He has put the nerves aside, and he's able to hit these very difficult shots. So, Jeremy, I thought it was very early in this round, which we don't normally see on a Sunday, but Davis Thompson had it going from the starting gates.
They were making Scotty Scheffler comparisons on the broadcast in regards to Thompson, and when they make that, and then you see Thompson, you're like, wait a minute, that makes sense. They're the same size. They kind of carry themselves the same way. They're looking down a lot at the courses. They kind of like think their way through the round. They're talking about Scotty from a few years back, but what does this win and perhaps that comparison do for Thompson's profile?
It'll be interesting to find out, because the thing when Scotty first started winning is that he never stopped winning. Remember, he won between his first win and his fourth win, it was 6 starts. So I don't think that is going to happen for Davis Thompson, because that's a pretty unheard of stretch for Scotty Scheffler. But what both of these guys have is, again, going back to that really great amateur pedigree, this really great amateur record, and then a great collegiate career where you can understand why both of these guys are going to have great success on the PGA Tour. I try not to compare anybody to Tiger Woods, Jeremy, and I think we're in the mode now where I try not to compare anybody to what Scotty Scheffler is doing. So Davis Thompson has a long way to go, but both guys coming from certainly a similar background.
And as they were saying on the broadcast, there is a pipeline of really good young golfers that are set to make their way onto the tour. He is our golf analyst, Rick Gehman, giving us some post-round thoughts as Davis Thompson wins the John Deere Classic, the first win of his tour career. And he certainly takes home a lot of money. It's FedEx Cup points and exemption, spot at the Masters, and of course a spot at Royal Troon. Our post-round coverage presented by TaylorMade. Play the #1 ball for you with the all-new TP5 and 5X only from TaylorMade. Scan the QR code on your screen to learn more.